Mm, mm. Hey, boys and girls, we're back with another recap of Being Mary Jane, Season 4, Episode 3. You know what? I really, at one point in the episode, was like, did BET air the episodes out of order? Did they skip an episode or a season, perhaps? Because Mary Jane, your girl, because I'm not claiming her anymore, Pauletta got upset at a man that she barely knows, has only been dating for a hot minute because he wouldn't commit to moving in with her. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but at the end of the last episode, did she or did she not show up to old boys where he was hanging out with his friends, so show up to a restaurant, do a tearful confession in front of everyone, and then all of a sudden, a week later, or say it's even a month in TV time, all of a sudden she's trying to get him to move in with her? Like, I know you put your finger in his ass, but that doesn't fast forward a relationship. That just means y'all had some freaky sex without a commitment. That just means y'all are moving too fast sexually. But it doesn't mean that all of a sudden, like, you move in together. Like, you barely know this man. And then later she says, like, oh, it's because, I'm turning 40 and I'm like freaking out about that. But I'm like, ma'am, I'm going to say this every week until she goes and sits on someone's couch. A therapist for you. It is time for you to see it's probably 10 years past when you needed to see a therapist. But for the love of Hova and the love of you need to see a therapist because you don't know this man. And not only were you expecting this man to be like, yeah, I'm going to move in with you. You haven't met my kids. You've only known me a month tops. A month tops. That's how long they've known each other. But yeah, we should move in together. No. So at least Lee had enough sense to be like, no, I'm not contemplating this. If you want to buy this place, then you should buy it, but you shouldn't buy it with me in mind because I can't make a decision about building a future with you if you haven't even met my children, because the children are definitely part of the future. You, ma'am, are optional. You, new ma'am, who he barely knows. But you just want to just commingle your life and your finances with a man that you barely know. Like, I don't get this girl. And then she kicked the man out because the man showed some good common sense and was like, no, I'm not going to commit to moving in with you. This place doesn't even have radiators. Like, yeah, that man showed some good judgment at that point, that he showed up at her hotel room, apartment, whatever you want to call it, later and was like, oh no, we didn't break up. Everything's fine. Well, yeah, actually you should have considered that a breakup because I think I said last recap, I feel like Lee is too good for her. And he seems like he has a pretty level head, except for choosing Mary Jane. That's my sign that all is not right in his world. All is not right in his head because you got to be kind of dysfunctional to deal with a woman who's that dysfunctional. You ain't all right either. I'm just saying. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm talking like about things that don't even matter. Scratch everything I said because the only thing that really matters about this episode, other than her trying to move him into that. What was that? What was that? I'm not mad at him for liking it. Because a lot of men like it on the low. Like, a lot of men like it. But I don't even know how that plays out in like a real sexual situation. Like, do you just like wipe it on the bed sheet? Do you like put your hand under the pillow? Because honestly, I wouldn't want it to touch me. That was a lot. That was more than I was expecting. But that was awkward. That was awkward. I'm actually really concerned about Mary Jane. I don't know where they're taking this I'm turning 40 in 2 months idea for the rest of the season. If that's going to be a developing storyline, I imagine that it would be, but she's erratic. I don't know that that's new and different because this is the same woman who, went to stalk outside a married lady's house. She was sleeping with her husband. So she stalked her out at the store and told the wife like, hey, I'm sleeping with your husband. And then she stalked outside the woman's house and then went inside the woman's house and tried to give her advice on how to keep her man. She stole David's sperm and put it in her freezer. Like, this woman has been the co-captain of Team Bad Decisions for a really long time. It's just, I think maybe she's becoming unraveled even more so because she's moved to a new city. Maybe she's lonely. Maybe, and because she's pushing 40, she's having some feelings around that. So she's being more erratic than usual. Hence, going off on Cardi B or saying that craziness after the segment. She busts in the room, calls the girl out her name, calls her a bitch, says she should have swallowed her kids, and that she's a Buick. Like, ma'am, this is not acceptable professional behavior. Like, this, you sound crazy. You sound erratic. You sound like you need meds. I speak all the time about how I think she really needs a therapist. Perhaps she needs a psychiatrist. She needs someone who can treat what seems to be a chemical imbalance. I don't know that laying on a couch doing some talk it out is really enough for her. The reaction that Mary Jane received from cursing the girl out and then the video goes everywhere, that's some TV. That Melissa Harris Perry wants to interview you now. The people are writing all these stories about, you know, the veil, code switching and all that. That's not how that plays out in the real world. In the real world, you're the lady who's trying to get ahead. You're trying to go from standing outside in the cold. You want to get to the anchor slot. You've pretty much just secured that you're not going to get there. Maybe never, and definitely not anytime soon. So the 5 years that Rhonda told you about that you're going to be standing outside in the cold, you just added a few years to that. You may have to go to another network. You may have to go somewhere else. And that said, she gets all this popularity. Everyone's like, oh, Mary Jane, Mary Jane. Kara's like, oh, this is great. You're hitting the big time again. Her boss said he was amused, but promptly demoted her. Was like, you know what? You're not going to be on the TV show every morning. The 5.5 million viewers that we broadcast to that you wanted to throw in Cardi B's face, you're going to be sitting online. So she is going to be on TV. She's going to continue to have her show, and she's the crazy one on the show. So she's going to get paid and she's going to get a spinoff. You're not even going to be on TV. You're going to be on the internet. I love digital. My life is digital, obviously, because I'm here. But where you want to be at 40, it's a demotion from being on air on the biggest morning show to being on the website of that show. I gotta stop with this finger thing. Justin gets a bad rap, and it's because Mary Jane's backstory about him getting her fired from the job. And he's not like a smiley, happy guy. He's pretty serious unless he's like throwing a football around the office. But we're seeing Justin through Mary Jane's eyes, but honestly, what has Justin lied about? Justin said, Mercedes isn't a good fit for morning TV. That was not a lie. Cardi B on 10 with no sense and just full ratchet. That's what Cardi B was playing this episode. She's not a bad actress either. I was actually like, oh, Cardi, because I really like Cardi B. But I say all that to say, for the role she was playing on this show, she had no business on the morning show. That's not morning show material. And you can call that respectability and whatever else. That's too much with your eggs, your bacon, and your cereal. That's just too much going on. And they're like, oh yeah, like she's best known for throwing a toaster or a microwave. Like, you're throwing kitchen appliances at people. No, morning TV is not the good place for you. He said Mary Jane is abrasive in interviews and that she ambushes people. That also was not a lie. He pointed out to her that she gets jobs that she doesn't keep. She constantly gets fired. That also was not a lie. I feel like Justin and then also Rhonda too have been positioned as these antagonists, and it's because Mary Jane is the protagonist of the show, so we tend to accept her worldview, but she is not a reliable narrator. She's not a reliable point of view. Like, we tend to act like Justin and Rhonda are so awful to her, but what they are is not amused by her shenanigans. And she's still giving Mary Jane advice. That whole bit that Rhonda said about you're as good as who you interview or who you associate yourself with, very true. As an interviewer, there are certain people I won't interview. There are certain interviews I won't do because you associate yourself with crazy. It makes you look crazy. I learned that the hard way. Next topic. Kara's looking cute. I like Orlando for her. He's cute. He's funny. He seems into her. He has a little money. I like that in a guy. And he looks good without a shirt on. He drinks some tequila. I think they have a nice situation. So I look forward to seeing where that goes. I like Kara's drive. I like her professional ambition, but I don't want her to be the lonely single woman who all she has is her job in New York. And I will give Kara's very clear that she's not the day-to-day mommy type. That's a role that's better suited for her husband. But I will respect that she doesn't go around just making a stream of bad decisions to the degree that Mary Jane does. Kara keeps it to like a normal amount of messy so far. We don't know where this Orlando storyline is gonna go. PJ is in New York. I was happy to see his cute little chocolate drop face. He's so cute to me. He's adorable. But I like that Pauletta has some family up north. I didn't want the show to her in New York and then everybody else down in Atlanta. It feels very like divisive. So yeah, so I like that PJ is there, and he's good for her because he'll tell her the truth about herself. I thought it was weird though when she went to his house, like she was like, "Oh, you got a girl in there?" Like PJ's a grown man and he's a house guest. Like, I don't know the rules of house guesting. I've never house guested, but if you're staying at someone's house for an extreme amount of time, like a couple days, no, I don't expect you to have guests over. But if you're babysitting my house for weeks at a time, are you never supposed to have a guest by? Is that a house sitting rule? I don't know. I've never house sat, but if I'm wrong, tell me about that one. I don't know the rules for house sitting, but I figured you could have a guest by. But I just thought it was weird that she was all like, "Who you got in there?" I'm like, that's your brother, not your man. Like, you're so used to flipping out on men, you flip out on every man. Like, be easy, boo. Be easy. That's everything. I covered Mary Jane. I covered Justin. I covered PJ. I covered Kara. I covered that. So let me know what you think in the comments. And if you have a chance, please subscribe. I would love to have you stick around. And when I post a new video, you get it immediately before I share it on my other social media channels. You get it first. That's everything. So thanks for tuning in. Mwah, mwah, mwah.